Hello and welcome to Honey Badger Radio. My name is Alison Tiemann, and I am with Hannah Wallen, the host of HBR Talk. Okay, Hannah, what is today's topic and why did you choose to do it?
Today's topic follows up on last week's topic. If you'll remember, last week I introduced the fact that you're being lied to by the establishment media and pretty much political pundits, talking heads, celebrities, some quite deliberately, and some, as a function of lying to themselves and then lying to you as a result. But a lot of what gets used in those lies is statistics that comes from research. And a lot of research isn't done to get to the truth. A lot of research isn't done to find out information that is useful to solve problems. It's done to find a way to twist the existing information to support a narrative. And we see that all the time in feminist research where they'll gather a set of information, statistics, say from a survey. A lot of research that feminists do is survey based. And then they will state conclusions based on the data that they gathered from that survey. But then if you go back and look at the data, it doesn't support the conclusions that they have stated as if they've drawn them from that data. And there are a lot of other things that get done.
One particular type of was something I like to call orphan statistics. Feminists will find out a situation for female victimhood, but not the same situation for men, and then they will present it with the assumption that the situation for men has to be better or significantly less difficult, painful, damaging, what have you. And they have no statistics to do this, to even suggest that it's so. And when you look at the men's side, you actually find out that no, they have it as bad or sometimes even worse than women.
Good example of this is when we were all on Reddit together all the time, clear back in 2013, I used to get hit with this statistic from feminist Redditors that said, what was it they said? Partner homicide was the leading cause of women's death in the workplace. And the first thing I thought of with that was, we know that the vast, overwhelming majority of workplace deaths are men, not women. And it's not like, 80%, it's 95% plus. Just depending on where you look, what part of the world you look at. And in the United States, if I remember right, it's like 95 or 97%. It's most workplace deaths are men. And in fact, to the point where when I looked into it, workplace homicides of men, just the full category of workplace homicides of men, outnumbers the total number of women's deaths in the workplace. So I looked into these statistics, right? They make this emphasis. The first thing I find out is actually the majority of women's deaths in the workplace are accidents. It's just that they broke down accidents into subtypes, but they didn't break down homicide into subtypes when they garnered that statistic. Right? So when they start talking about homicide being the biggest cause, so then they looked at homicides of women in the workplace. I looked at homicides of women in the workplace. They claimed, partner homicides were the biggest number. Actually, robberies were bigger, and so they misattributed the cause of homicide that was the biggest. And then on top of that, the category that they were taking partner homicides from was partner and family homicides. So if you had a family business that one of the kids of the family maybe stole from the parents and killed them on the way out, that was counted, that would classify. And so they were counting that as a partner death. And it wouldn't necessarily have been, and that kid might have killed the father as well. And there were all these things with the statistic that were incorrect.
what they do is they arrange it so that they reduce all of the other categories so that they're smaller. So they break down all other categories of deaths, I presume, like accidents. They'll do accidents in this area versus accidents in that area. So they're breaking them down smaller and smaller until they get what they want, which is that the majority of women who die on the job are killed by their partners. And they, like you said, they even misrepresent family homicides as partner homicides. So it's just, and it's this manipulation of the entire situation. And I've seen that with the homeless stats too, except in that case, it's even more interesting or perhaps bizarre or just crazy, because what they'll do is they will focus on the fact that women are the minority of the homeless as indication that women are affected more by homelessness because they're the minority. They're not served as well as the majority who are men.
They'll report 1 in 4 homeless people are women. Like it's sad that there are people that are homeless. That's, obviously nobody wants anybody else to be homeless, at least against their will. There are people, there are very, very few people out there, especially in the United States, where we have all kinds of luxury, and we also have all kinds of bad weather that you don't want to be outdoors in. But there are a few people that are rolling stones that want to be able to pack up and move and not be anchored to any place like that. It's getting harder and harder to live like that in the United States. But most people who are homeless would really rather be indoors when there's a thunderstorm, indoors when there's a blizzard, indoors when it's 95 degrees in the shade and humid in places like Ohio, where it's 95 degrees but it feels like it's 110. And most of the people who can be indoors, even if they are homeless under those circumstances, are women. 95% of unsheltered homeless are men. 75% of homeless are men. 95% of unsheltered homeless are men, because the homeless shelters prioritize women. And then women are more likely to find somebody willing to let them couch surf. But what do they report? They report that 1 in 4 homeless people are women, which isn't true either. There is a significant number of the non-adult male homeless population that are children accompanying homeless women.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like I said, what's interesting is you can set all of that aside, and they'll even present the fact that women are a minority victims of something as a reason why they're actually the main victims of that thing. That particular maneuver really astounds me. All right. So if you want to learn more about how people or the media, I'm guessing it's the media, not just people, but we can also.
Well, in this one we're going to look at both the presentation, but we're also going to look at the behavior of researchers that do this and pundits that do this, because I've seen feminist research where the facts are buried in the methodology, and once you get past the methodology and the body of statistics, then you have their calculations and their logic for drawing their conclusions, and it takes away all of the facts and reality. And by the time you get to the end, the conclusion statement and the abstract of the research, what they actually looked at in their research does not support what they're telling the public. So we'll be looking at that as well.
All right. So if you want to have a deeper dive into the misuse and lying using statistics, please hit the little I right here. And are you going to have a special guest on the show?
Yes, Deborah Pawnee is going to come on and talk about this with us. She is the researcher that we had on to talk about her research, and I'm hoping to get a little update on, how much information did she gather, and how pleased is she with the sampling that she got, and what's she going to be able to do with it, and everything, how her research is progressing.
Just give us a little summary of what kind of research Deborah does.
So what she was doing, the survey that she came on to talk about before was in men and boys who are victims of domestic abuse. And this is an area that's been under-researched. And of course, where it has been researched in the past, a lot of it's been feminists doing the research as a way to control how people look at it. So they get the information, but then they find a way to twist it into women are the bigger victims, or women are even women are victims of this, or anything other than acknowledging that women can be perpetrators, and it's a problem when these things happen to men, and it's something that needs to be dealt with in a manner other than by blaming men. So she's doing this through a non-feminist filter, where she's just taking a look at the facts and taking a look at the experiences of men and evaluating their possibilities for recovery from abuse. And I did note, just looking at what she's been reporting publicly from this, she's got well beyond what she was hoping for in numbers.
That's excellent to hear.
Yeah, so we really did a good job helping her. Our community did a good job helping her gather more people. And I know there have been people that have told me that they've publicly shared her research, her link to her research, and there were people that they knew who were not necessarily involved in the men's rights community, but just acquaintances, friends, family that said, yeah, I answered that. And I had some people tell me in my life that they had answered that I was actually surprised, because they'd never spoken or shown any indication of anything that would lead to them having answers to give to that. So I found out some things, and I'm sure other people did as well. So this is actually a really great initiative, and so obviously this is research we want to encourage.
Oh, definitely. All right. Okay, my lovely specimens. So if you want to find out more about how people, or in this case, media and academia, lie using statistics, click the I here. And thank you for your kind attention. Have a great day.